For 1 second. Alrighty. So hello everybody who is here in the present, past, or future. We're going to start today's somatic inquiry with just sitting and being present with ourself. So coming in for a landing in your own body, feeling what it feels like to be you right now in this moment on this planet with everything that's going on. And we're going to play with the theta breath right away. So we'll just start with a soft, gentle hiss exhale, which lasts as long as it feels comfortable, and take resting breaths whenever you need them. So don't feel like you're trying to make this thing last forever. Just let it last for as long as it feels good, and then inhale when you need to, resting breath if you want to, and let yourself really be free in this moment to experience the moment in whatever way you need to. If you need to do something different than what I'm doing, it's totally fine. This is just an offering. Take it so that it nourishes you in the best way possible for yourself. Offer yourself this moment to dive into your system and let yourself sort of rejuvenate, replenish, nourish whatever needs to be nourished. So playing with the theta breath, soft hiss. When we start to slow down our exhale, we allow our parasympathetic nervous system to come online, which is the rest and digest, soothe and settle part. So just by slowing the exhale, we're starting to let the system know that it's okay to calm down. And I'm closing my eyes for this, and maybe a little micro movement in my central channel. So for me, when I close my eyes, it's like I'm just letting the outer world have its space, and I am in my inner world. And once I go in there, I'm trying not to just start thinking, but really tune into feeling what my body feels like. It's almost like I've shut out the lights and now I'm just in my experience. That's the internal interoception, what you feel inside your body. You still will have proprioception of movement. You'll be aware of your body and space, but try to come from a really feeling vibrational quality of your body as opposed to a concept or image of your body. So seeing if you can flip into presence of your living energetic system. And take a hand on my chest and a hand on my belly and just keep going with the theta breath. If there's anything that you kind of feel like you're holding on to or lifting up or getting a grip on, let go of that as much as you can. So it's like, oh, I can just sink and settle. And I'm inviting some micro movement into my head-tail connection or into the river of my spine. If we just turn our head a little bit from side to side, we give our brain stem the information that it's safe. So you can go with that kind of no. It can be very small or it could be big. Feel around, and it doesn't have to be linear, moving just from one side to the other. You can meander in one area or another, or let it go more into your whole spine. So whatever feels good for you. And I want to add one more thing that is an option. You can do it or not. And that is that when you come to the end of your theta breath, the end of your exhale, you're going to inhale in and just have a short little breath hold, as long as it feels comfortable, and see if you can just relax into the full breath hold. It's not like you have to super fill up, but just inhale however much you want and just hold it for, could be 10 seconds, could be 30 seconds, could be 5 seconds, whatever feels good to you. While you're in that little breath hold, just offer your body the idea that you're relaxing here and like, oh, is there anything I can let go of? We do have lightness and levity in our body also. In movement analysis, we talk about sort of our lower pelvis, gut body area as being like our center of gravity down here. But up here in our lungs is the center of levity, lightness, right? We don't just fall into the earth and become puddles of water on the ground, like dropping down into gravity. We also have this rebound from the earth. So as we're in this experience of this theta breath with a little breath hold, see if you can find the lightness as well as the groundedness. So the with the exhale, with the theta, I feel myself kind of come in and go down. But then I take in that breath, and you can think of the breath filling up your whole torso. It could, it doesn't matter. You don't need to do it in a certain way. Just breathe in however you want to, and then give it a little bit of time to hold. And as you're in that hold, see if you can relax the surfaces of your body. So going with that exhale, long theta, however long it lasts, inhale, hold for as long as it feels good. And then some resting breaths after you finish each of those. Just let yourself come back to something natural and neutral before going on to do it again. Maybe not doing it too many times, like 3 or 4 times of that is probably plenty. And having some time in the space in the middle of just letting your system adjust to whatever's going on. Even if we think of like bubbles in water, like the bubbles are going to rise, right? So in a way, we're a body of water. When we're inviting this breath in, it's not like we're suddenly lifting everything up, but there may be some lightness with that breath. Yeah, finding that sense of levity and rebound from our groundedness back up into some lightness and some inspiration, right? Inhalation, inspiration, in spirit, right? We're coming into spirit with the breath in whatever way feels interesting. I'm going to let go of the theta breath and just work with some micro movement for a few minutes, allowing my body to adjust, little internal adjustments. Here's another way of thinking about it. We can think about micro relaxations and micro stretches. So micro movement isn't like, oh, I'm just trying to do all this small stuff, but it's like, oh, there's these little growings and shrinkings happening in really three-dimensional ways inside my body. So just inviting in that micro adjustment, micro movement. And it may be very big movement. Maybe just be that the micro movement is underlying, supporting the big movement. But we're just awakening ourself into this sort of more fluid being, but also maybe awakening our relationship to the air in our body, to that lightness of the air, or to our bones, to our groundedness, to our density, even to the fire element, the energy element, right? The electrical element within our body, the electromagnetic the electromagnetic field of the earth, of our body, but there's different fields of energy working through and with our body. And it's probably something that we understand the least in the West. Some of the Eastern systems are pretty good with these energy centers. And more science is finding a Western way of interpreting those and going, oh yeah, they're really there. I feel so often that what's happening is things are going, oh yeah, that's real, that experience. But if it's happening to you on a phenomenological level or a vibrational level, then it's real too. It's real for you. So letting yourself just adjust, take in whatever you need to take in. I'm going to throw one more image out there. And that is that our nervous system, from our brain down through our spinal cord, routing out through our body, is being protected and nourished by our cerebrospinal fluid. So it's coming out, supporting, eliminating waste, nourishing, bringing oxygen to our spinal cord. So that's very a wet area, right? There's a lot of water in there. And then it routes out through our body, through our tissue, through our fascia. And it's even, made of fascia in many ways. The organ of form is creating the structures of our body. But we can imagine that our whole nervous system is supported in our body. Like people talk about having like raw nerves, but really, unless you're cut open, it's not raw. It's supported, or they might be raw, but it's not exposed to, the surface of the world. We're all packed perfectly in this wholeness system of our body. So allowing your nerves to just downregulate a little bit, to go, oh, I'm in here, I'm safe, I'm packed in, it's okay. And it shouldn't, like when we do that micro movement, we're adding this idea of spaciousness so that we're not calcifying and shutting down and becoming more sort of plaque filled, but we're inviting anything that might be a little stuck or a little blocked to reabsorb. And that micro movement is just readjusting fluids in our body. Well, we need some over here, we can take some away from over there. So just imagine that this fluid system of your body is really good at self-regulation and really good at nourishing yourself, right? So giving the idea of it to yourself that this is a safe place to be and that you have a very intelligent system that is doing a lot to keep you healthy. And if you aren't super healthy, then when we down regulate and we come into this slowness, when we're resting, when we're sleeping, this is where we process and heal. So we're just offering ourselves more chance to process and heal when we come into this somatic inquiry practice. We're not trying to force our body into anything, but we're giving it space to readjust, to heal, to process, to allow. And we want to have this awake aliveness with, well, I feel very much when I'm in this moving way, very even micro movement, this sort of awake aliveness in my whole system. So there's a natural living flow going on as long as you're alive. It's tuning into that. And it's happening on all these sort of elemental levels. That's a lot of talking. Take in whatever is interesting and play with that. Giving yourself full permission to exist exactly how you are. Nothing to improve upon, but really deep, deep self-acceptance. And when we really deeply accept ourselves, it's easier to accept the rest of the world. It doesn't have to be perfect. And in fact, the imperfections are in many ways what make things lovable. I'm going to share screen or share sound and add some music. I have been going through my own videos every day for the past week and doing old ones and just returning to what I've said in the past and just using that as my meditation, which has been really nourishing. So I recommend that if there's ones that you like, try repeating them. It should be different every time because it's a new moment in your body. So the music I'm going to put on is the thing that has been my favorite to listen to, which keeps popping up in these videos that I'm doing, and it is Ambient Fields, album number 4. It's song 1, but we're going to pop into it a little partway through. So let the music feed your improvisational moment. If you think you know what's going to happen, see if you can go somewhere else, right? As soon as we get that predictive processing online going, oh, it's going to be like this, now we're going to do that, change it to something else. I'm going to take it down to the floor. Oh, and sometimes it's nice even to work with a prop. It doesn't have to be that you have a ball, but sometimes just having an item, could be a pillow, could be a blanket, could be something just to change the way that you're relating to your environment. Just an option. I could also do it without the ball. And this weighs virtually nothing. It's just giving me more information. Also, if you're ever feeling touch starved, like just having a ball so that there's a part, something touching me that I can control, but it's not my skin on skin or hand on body. Give yourself total permission to sort of journey within your experience. Letting yourself ride your imagination. Sometimes I feel like when I go into these somatic inquiries, it's kind of like tripping. It's like my mind gets in such a different state of being. And it's not that that's the goal, but it's just unhooking like normal reality and coming into a different experience of being fluid, being air. Air is considered a fluid, air flows, currents flow. But there's a lot of ways of flowing. Our experience is an ongoing flow of being. What part of you is always there? Tune into that. And then allow all the sensations in your body to be present, really awakening you to this moment. Letting go of any kind of locking up of ideas or who you are or rigidity in your expression of you. Letting this be really free and open. Non-judgmental aliveness. In this biomorphic, living, moving, dynamic system of integrity and tensegrity, right? That's what we are, integral systems. If something shifts over here, the whole system knows it and responds. No separation in this system. We are alive. Living tissue. And we belong here. Just the fact that you are here means you belong. Gravity says you belong, you were born, you belong. You can also use self-touch, right? If you're ever feeling kind of dysregulated or not present, then touching yourself or squeezing yourself, feeling in. Like my hands are really warm. And touching myself, feeling my hand, squeezing my arm is very, it's a warm experience, like in a sort of loving way, beyond temperature warmth. Inviting any little tension patterns in your back to release. Sometimes it's in your jaw or in your neck or lower back or middle back. If you come across any tension, just invite some micro movement in there. See if you can let it go a little bit. The rolling is really helpful, I find, to help find these little patterns. Is there something I can let go of? Is there something I can forgive myself for, right? We're not perfect. We don't need to be perfect. But sometimes we can be very harsh with our own selves if we made a mistake or did something we think is wrong or said the wrong thing or acted like a dick, acted like a jerk. Sometimes we're like, oh, I feel bad about that. I shouldn't have said that. Let it go. It's okay. It's not just you affecting all these choices. It's you in the world. We're all responding to all the things. And sometimes it's forgiving yourself for not saying something, for not doing something. So give yourself a big wash of forgiveness, wash of acceptance, wash of letting go of aggression, guilt, shame. Some days we just need to be more gentle with ourselves. Some days we need to be more gentle with other people. And if thoughts and thinking are coming up, I'm noticing kind of a lot of thinking going on. Just see it, see if you can step outside of it and just see it as a flow. So not giving it too much of your attention, let it happen. You don't need to constrict around it. But if you can sort of step outside of the river of thought and just notice it, trickling along, bubbling along, it's fine. yourself slow down, maybe coming into stillness sometimes. Also finding the lightness of the breath in there, just the levity of just breathing. Oxygen's moving through our whole body. And there's intelligence in the fluids in our body. There's energy, there's aliveness in the fluids in our body. At least the liquid ones. And the liquids in our body come in sort of different viscosities. Some are more watery like, and some are more fibrous and gel like. I mean, blood is considered a connective tissue, and it can coagulate, right? When we spend time with our bare feet on the ground, it changes the viscosity of our blood, right? So touching feet to sand, to dirt, to grass changes our own makeup. And here's another really great little thing to think about. Whoever you live in your house with, whatever animals or other people are there, you are sharing a microbiome together. I mean, everyone might be slightly different, but within there, there's going to be a signature that you all live together in your microbiome. I find that to be kind of excellent. Me and Squeaky Deaky have got a lot of microbiome in common. So that's like a little microcosm. If we look at it much bigger, we are all sharing the planet. We are all sharing the solar system. We are all sharing the cosmos. And on a sort of primordial level, we're all sharing the water and the air of this earth. We're all sharing the energy of the sun. We're sharing the moon and the stars. Like within our body, there's a wholeness pattern, all the things. And then outside of it, we're connected like these little fractals within a fractal, right? The little one, the micro opening up into the macro. Patterns, that's what I meant to say. Fractal patterns within fractal patterns. The same thing showing up at a bigger level. bringing that in to no sound or no music. Just letting yourself take a few more minutes to uh, process the processing, to receive whatever was going on for you in this moment, um, in stillness or continuing to move. Often when I'm in a dive like this that someone else is leading, often they're like, okay, let's bring it to close. And I'm like, I'm not ready to close yet. So I often am still moving, but let it be what you need to do for your own body. And also, like, this moment might end with me, but it's continuing on, you know. So invite your awareness of this type of experience into your daily life of like, oh yeah, I can just go into that space of that sort of fluid body or that levity or that gravity, whatever it is you need. Let the resources be available just by tuning into them. I know. I will say, I said this is like being on drugs, and sometimes it's like tripping, but often it's like being on an opiate, like being on like a real like codeine or something, which I only really take for massive headaches or when I used to have period pain. But when I come really down regulated in this, it feels very much like that. It's like, oh, it's very relieving. Mostly, I don't take a lot of drugs, but occasionally I do. I think when you're in a lot of pain, it might be worth it to relieve the pain. Although I will say a close friend of our family or a family that's close friends of our family recently, the parents about my age, their son OD'd, and what they said was, well, he's not in pain anymore. So, I mean, I'm just going to name that. It's not like we want that to happen to people, but sometimes that's what it is, right? We're all just trying to relieve ourselves from pain. So, I do suggest that somatic practices may be a better way of going into it than taking drugs that are uh, pretty brutal and killing a lot of people these days. Anyway, on that bright note, come to the end of the live stream, but just to acknowledge like there's a lot of shit going on out there that people are dealing with and to have some compassion for people in their experience. You never know what somebody's going through.